Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today it looks like we're getting back into doing a Shop My Stash. The last time I made a Shop My Stash video was back in December, so it's been a couple months. Long story short, I just got a little burnt out filming them. So in the meantime, since then, I have been pulling products from my collection to use in a more, I guess, unstructured way, more instinctual kind of way. See like what products bring value to me without me having to make myself use things. Like, what do I naturally gravitate towards or need to use or want to use? I have two projects going right now. I have Deck of Panning going and a year-long project pan. I did want to use those projects as a way to rotate my makeup as well. With that said, I do feel like there are some singles that I'm ready to start using again in a more formal way, like by bringing them in and really intentionally using them. I am sick right now, so if my voice seems a little bit off, that's why. I don't know how often I'm going to do Shop My Stash videos. I think I like this whole like doing it after a few months type of a thing because it keeps it a little bit more fun for me to do. So, but we shall see. I'm just kind of going with the flow right now. Let's get into the products that I use. I will leave a timestamp for when I do the actual shopping portion if that's all you're interested in. So check for that timestamp down below. Looking at all of the makeup that I've used over the past 5 months, some things I only used once, so I'm gonna grab a couple of those. This NYX Silky Rose blush. This is super old and kind of on my chopping block, so I did want to touch upon this and see how I felt about it. I don't think one time was enough to use this though to really like see how I felt about it. So you might be seeing this again in the Shop My Stash. And I pulled in this little mini of the NARS Laguna lip balm. It's a tiny sample, and I think I only used this once as well. I did like this, but wasn't like floored by it, but it was like a decent lip balm, and I just wanted to, you know, get a little bit more use out of that. I pulled in this e.l.f. smudge pot that was also in a chopping block, and I haven't actually made up my mind. I think I want to keep it, but I only used it one time, and it was like months ago, so I don't think I got a chance to really like use it as much as I could have, or I still like it. I think it's a decent product, but it's another one I need to kind of test drive a little longer, as well as this liquid gold NYX eyeshadow. This is also a chopping block item. Really pretty, really good pigmentation, and I really enjoyed this eyeshadow. The one time I put it on, I was having reservations about it, but again, need to use it more than once. These are not in the chopping block, but I didn't use them in a long time and just kind of swiped across these once to use. I used this as a duo and decided that they worked fine. I love brown and pink together on the lid. This is a plummy brown, so it definitely is one of my favorite types of browns. Not terrible swatch, but... And this is just a standard pink eyeshadow, which I feel is always handy. I think those are fine. I will be more definitive when I'm doing my declutter video and have more of a plan, but right now I'm just saying what I used. Okay. I actually hit pan in this ColourPop eyeshadow. So this was in a project, but I did use this like past the goal that I had for it. So I did count this in a Shop My Stash sort of, because it, you know, if I'm using it beyond when I need to, I count that. So this is called I Heart This, and I like pairing this with other eyeshadows. I don't really like wearing it on its own, but yeah, I hit pan on it like organically. I heard these are really easy to pan anyway, but like that's like the only eyeshadow I ever hit pan on without having to try to hit pan. It wasn't a project, but I wasn't trying to hit pan on it in the project, just use it. So that's interesting. I'm always welcoming a pan, you know. I used this guy one time. This is the MAC Mancatcher eyeshadow. It is limited edition, so I do know I love this eyeshadow, and I like pairing it with a dark brown liner, but I didn't get a chance to wear it that way. I wore it with something else, and I didn't really like how it looked. So I need to use this because it's the right season for it, and I want to utilize my makeup more. So what else did I only wear once? I used this Laguna bronzer, which is lovely. It's the sample that they gave with the NARS Laguna lip balm, and I really do like this. I love how tiny it is. I'm like really into minis, so I enjoyed using that. Now these two eyeshadow palettes were in projects as well, but I did reach for them for like the neutral shades. Matte for Matte e.l.f. palette. I pulled this mainly to use like the neutrals, again past the project goal, so just to kind of blend out shadows or whatever. And same with this. I use this for all the neutral colors as well, past when I had it in the project. So that came in handy, but I am ready to put this away for a couple months since I had it in a project. I pulled in officially, this is the one that was very intentional about using, this Tartelette in Bloom palette, which I got quite a decent amount of use out of the past 2 months. I really love this palette. This is like my favorite palette because the formula is really easy to work with. It blends really well. The colors are colors that I don't struggle to use. Like even the more basic shadows in here work so well as just like a one shadow look. You know, all of them do actually. I mean, the smokier ones I'm not going to do that with. That's more for like eyeliner typically or crease colors, but everything else is just really easy to use. Heck, I might keep it in again for another month. For blushes, I hadn't used the NARS Orgasm in a long time, and this was calling to me because it is a very natural looking blush on me and it is getting really old, so I did want to use this a couple times and I've enjoyed it. So it's very, very natural. I don't have to worry about this looking like too much. The other really old blush that I pulled in was this Cargo Blu-ray blush. This is discontinued. I don't even, it doesn't even have like a shade name, but I'm wearing this today actually. It is so beautiful. I was contemplating decluttering this because of the age, but when I put it on today, I was like, no way. I need to either like finish this completely or just like use it as much as I can. It is expired and it's old and all that, but honestly, I don't go by expiration dates. I don't know if you're new here, but that's not what I do. I go by ick factor. Like if it's giving me the ick and it's like, yeah, and it's like the vibes are off or it's like not performing well, then yes, I'm obviously going to get rid of it. I'm not going to just like declutter something that works though and that I really like. That doesn't make sense to me if it still performs well. My CoverGirl blushes, these are super old as well, but I love these. I am obsessed with the peach one and the classic pink one. I think this one's called Pretty Peach, but these are awesome. I'm just like surprised how much I love my CoverGirl blushes. They're old, they're not fancy blushes, but I'm obsessed. The one in the middle, however, that's on the chopping block for me because I don't think that is kind of my vibe when it comes to blushes. Maybe as like a blushy contour or something, but it doesn't really do much for my face like on its own. You know what I mean? Like as a typical blush, it kind of just fades into nothing and isn't really, it's weird because it's so dark, right? But honestly, when I put it on my face, I'm just like, yeah, I do think I kind of prefer blushes that have a little bit more of a brightening type of tone and enjoying that. Now this was on the chopping block. This is the MAC Earth to Earth blush and I loved using this. This was so, I just loved it. It's a little bit more orangey than what I thought I would prefer. In fact, you might say this looks very similar to, well, maybe not, I don't know, the CoverGirl one, but I just like this so much more. I don't know if it's because there's like more shimmer in it, it's more glowy, I don't know, but this is discontinued. This is very old. I got this many years ago. It's a limited edition from like the cosmetics company when that was still a thing. Like, I think they still exist, but I'm not sure. But that's where I got this from and it is beautiful. I'm not letting go of this one. I used Party by Tarte like once, and this is one of those blushes that I'm like, I always have to have a neutral blush in my collection because I always think that they're so like going with everything. But to be honest with you, I've been so underwhelmed by this type of blush. I still am gravitating more towards like brighter, not like super bright like clown blush, but like stuff that brighten up my complexion. I don't know if it's just because I'm getting older or something. I don't know what it is. I just need something that's going to like do something for my complexion, and I feel like it is very handy. I would probably still keep this because I like the variety and I like having a neutral blush, but I'm noticing I have a couple of neutrally blushes that I'm just not as excited to use, and I don't think they're doing much for my complexion. Here's a really old blush. This is by Everyday Minerals. I don't know if you guys remember that brand from like back in the day.
Sorry, could you say that again?
Shh. I don't know if you guys remember this brand from like back in the day, but like this used to be somewhat popular. It was kind of like the bare mineral like craze. Everything was like minerals. And this is a nice cool tone blush as well, but I'm thinking about potentially decluttering this guy because it is just so small and like messy and cluttery and old. And it is nice, but again, I feel like I have other comparable blushes that I'd rather use type of thing. And I did have this in a project as well. This is Glossier Storm, and I use this past the goal as well. So that always tells me something. If I'm like continuing to want to reach for stuff outside of a project, it means I really enjoy it. So that's the case with this. For lipsticks, oh, I've been really drawn to using this type of a lip product. So you know the butter glosses, right? This one was Angel Food Cake and Tiramisu. This just fits the vibe of springtime for me, or anytime. It's casual, it feels comfortable on the lips. I panned a NYX butter gloss recently and it was kind of like thinking I was sick of the formula, but I actually did enjoy using these, and it just was nice to have some colors to brighten up my complexion. So those were easy to use. I actually pulled in Ginger Snap by NYX as well, which is like way too dark. I would never wear this normally during like this time of the year, but this shade though, I kind of use, and you'll see this as a theme with a lot of my lipsticks that I pulled in over the past few months. Like this kind of shade I would use to add a little bit of color to my nudes that might have been a little too pale type of a thing. So I tried like mixing this with some of those, and I don't know if I love that or not. I don't remember like loving it. So I think I only did that like one time, but yeah. And I also did that with all of these lipsticks. So here's a Maybelline Madison Mauve lipstick. I would mix this with some nude shades to add more life. Do you notice a theme here? I don't really like looking dead. I kind of like to look a little bit more like lively these days. I also had Matte Craving, which I also did that with to kind of brighten up some nudes that wash me out or were too light. Same with this e.l.f. lipstick, which is really, really pretty. This is Wine Tour. Still really like that. And of course, you've seen Cashew in Project Pans, but I did use this past the Project Goal, and for the same reason, just to mix with other colors to get the desired effect. Del Rio got some mad usage over the past couple months, which is so crazy. This is, again, not a color I would ever think to wear, but again, I didn't wear this on its own either. I mixed this with other colors for the same reason as all the others. This is just a brick red. So I did find this very, very handy, and I like the formula, so that's really, really pretty. And this Ulta crayon I also used, called Soiree, discontinued, but I really enjoy like dabbing that on top of a balm or something to give like a stain. Makeup Academy Depotted lipstick. This is shade 205. They don't make that anymore, but this is one of my favorite nudes, so I definitely wanted to get use out of that. And these NYX lip lingeries, which have been staples in my collection for quite a long time. This push-up shade I've used so much. There's like windowing in there. This is not in a project, but I am aware this is like kind of old now and I need to like start finishing it up. I might throw it in a project. And this is Bedtime Flirt. There's definitely way more product than this one. I don't prefer this over push-up, but it is decent. So I use those as like nude lip alternatives. And I also used this Baddest Beige color by Maybelline, which I just like... This used to be one of my favorite like nude lipsticks, or it's like actually a brighter kind of a nude. I have very red lips, so this does a great job at like toning that down, and like it looks great with the smoky eye, except I didn't really wear any smoky eyes this whole month or past 5 months. So I just kind of picked at this to kind of brighten up my lip color, but then ended up not even like loving it with the look I was wearing, so that was kind of weird. But I broke into this Ilia lip wrap, which is one of the newer products in my collection. It's like obviously a sample size because it came in like a little kit, and really enjoyed it. I at first didn't really like it. It reminded me a lot of the EOS lip balm, like that kind of dry like texture. It was just like, if I put too little of it on, it made my lips like more dry. It just works better if you add more of it on. I don't really like to, you know, pile my lip products on, but just to me doesn't work unless you do put more of it on and kind of like a really thick layer of it on your lips. So that's just something to note if you were kind of considering this. Glad it's small though. I feel like I'll be able to kind of finish that in a timely manner. And the one highlight I pulled in that is not in a project is the Ulta Liquid Illuminator in Starlight, and I love this. I'm almost done this actually. I think there's not a whole lot left, but I really enjoyed using a liquid highlight. I'm not wearing it today, so I don't know why I'm doing that, but it is really good. Definitely got a lot of use out of this, and another candidate for a project pan. So very cool. I know that was a lot. It was interesting to see how I use my lipsticks. You know, a lot of them, like I said, I don't really use by themselves right now, but yeah, it was interesting to see that. I didn't really pull from any reds, which is not surprising because reds to me are more like fall, winter. So yeah, I'm ready to pull in some products to cycle in. So let's pick out some bronzers and highlighters. Here we are with my Rubbermaid / Starlight container. In this drawer, I only appear to have two, but I Betty Luminizer and Marc Jacobs. This Marc Jacobs bronzer, I only use this mainly in the winter time. When I start getting more of a tan, this doesn't turn up as much. So there are other ones I prefer to use over this one. So that'll just kind of stick aside until like fall winter. And then this is Betty Luminizer, which I do like this, but I think it might be a little too pigmented right now. It is a very beautiful bronzer, but you do need a light hand with that, at least for my skin tone. That's empty. Okay. And then we have highlighters. Okay, I have more bronzer than that. They're just not in this container right now. But actually, since all of my bronzers appear to either have already been used or just like they're not in here for whatever reason, I don't know what's going on. I might just stick with this after all because I don't think I have any other bronzers in this container. We'll bring it in. It's been a while. This one was empty. And here are my highlighters. So these are the only highlighters that I have, I think, that are not in a palette. So I think I want to pull in this butter highlighter, Physicians Formula Rose Gold highlighter, and it has that, you know, coconut smell like the butter bronzers do. I really like this. This is definitely more of a skin matching highlighter for me, so that's what it looks like. It is really, really pretty, and I do recall getting a lot of use out of this the last time I pulled it in, which was like a long time ago. And it's still performing really well. The texture is still creamy, so I want to get use out of this. And let me think here. Oh, I do have two highlighters that I'm like loving right now that are in my project pan, but I think I can pull in this Taylor Swift highlighter. This reminds you of Taylor Swift. The Mary Luminizer highlighter. I'm going to pull this one in because there's so much product in here, and why not, basically. So I do like to have a little bit of variety in my highlighters. So this is like a champagne-y type of highlighter, but it doesn't come off super yellow on my skin tone, which is good. I don't love super yellowy highlighters, but this one's a good shade, so we'll bring her in. And in this section here, I just have a bunch of backups, so there's nothing really exciting to see in here. I just been kind of using the same like setting powder because I'm trying to pan it, and there's really nothing in here that I'm interested in using at the moment, so I just really want to pan that powder. So we'll put this away for now. So I'm only bringing in these three. Let's pick out some blushes. Yeah, so I was using this and loving it. I think I'm going to continue using this blush to get as much use out of it as possible because it is beautiful and old. So we don't want to sleep on this Cargo blush. We don't know the shade of this. There is no name. It's discontinued and old, but I love her, so we're gonna keep that in. Nope. I used this past few months, so I'm not gonna pull in any of the CoverGirl ones. So this, I'm contemplating. I've been saying this for like months now that I think I want to declutter this, but I'd be interested to see how this compares to the Blu-ray Cargo blush just in shade, and if it's close enough, I'm probably gonna just declutter it. I do want to try it out a couple more times. You know what, I know I had this in recently, but like play a comparison game, so I'm not like necessarily planning on getting like all this use out of it, but I at least want to play around with those two, so just to compare, so I can be more confident with decluttering it too. And I'm gonna pull in this blush. I haven't used this in a while. This is called Thankful. This was a limited edition Tarte blush, and I'm really into like brighter blushes right now, so I think that'll be really pretty. This is a corally pink, so I don't think this swatch is that great. Actually, it does. Yeah, you can kind of see it here. It's very pretty, so I'm excited to use that. And I will bring in this MAC Hot Planet blush. So I don't know when I used this last, but I feel like if I really loved the last MAC blush I pulled in, I'm probably going to really enjoy using this for the next few months. I think so, because I do like it, so I want to use that. And I know I'm like going crazy. I'm gonna bring in this Milani Baked Blush in the shade Luminoso. This is a very popular blush, or was one of those like YouTube favorites by many people on the webs. So I want to pull this in. I don't know if I want to keep this either. So I know this looks like a lot of blush to be pulling in, but it's more to kind of test it out, but just make sure I'm testing it out. and being intentional about it. This one is really pretty though, but I just need to use it. So we'll see where that stands. And I feel like I tried to clean this and it just wouldn't get clean. This is another one I'm thinking of decluttering, and I've been saying that. This was actually in a chopping block along with the other one. So we're doing the same thing. We're just gonna pull this in and like play around with it, see how I feel. Just get more confident, because I really do feel like these are going to be on their way out, like maybe in the declutter video I'm planning on making soon, because they're just too old, but maybe a last hurrah kind of thing. All right, so let's do lip products. Okay, so these are all my nudes, or like close to nude. I want to use this Sigma lip gloss. This is a sample. This is in the shade Tint, which is a really weird, I know, I thought that Tint was just like the type of product it was, but I actually think that's the shade name, so they don't even make it anyway. But I do love this lip gloss, and this is the perfect time to wear it. The only thing that stinks is that the lid has a crack on it, so I have to be really careful about that. It's just such a pretty color, so I love that. I'm gonna try to use that, maybe keep it out all year, I don't know. I don't think I want to use any of these. Maybe Ever. Ever's kind of cool. This was like one of my favorite lip products, lip liners, and I don't know if I still like it anymore, so we need to figure that out. So it was my Pillow Talk dupe, or at least I would talk myself into thinking it looked like Pillow Talk back when I kind of wanted Pillow Talk. So we're gonna pull this one in. And all these are fair game. Like if I feel like moseying in here and picking something else out, I'm gonna do that. I'm not just like committing just to these two, but okay, I'm gonna pull in this shade. I haven't used this pink in a while. It's a lot like Craving by MAC that I have, but maybe a little bit brighter. So I'll pull this one in to mix around with other colors. I don't see myself wearing this like by itself unless it's like super sheared out. Pinky's kind of cool too though. It's like, this reminds me of a different time, like a very trendy makeup color, but it's cute, so why not? And not really interested in using reds right now. That's typical for me. I don't really want to make myself use red lipstick right now, but again, I am leaving the door open in case I want to experiment a little bit. So oops, this doesn't go in here. Now it's time for shadow. I'm gonna warn you, it's not gonna be crazy, because I, yes, have stuff in projects and I don't want anything competing with those. At the same time, I do want to pull in singles. It's been a while. Yes, I'm doing a declutter soon, so if you're like, what in the world is all this old eyeshadow? That is happening, so get ready. Celestine's really cool, but I don't think I want to bring that in. Oh, Nude Beach is a favorite. I can swatch that once I get 2 free hands. So I'll pull Nude Beach in because it's a good one. It's classic. Classic Bare Minerals. And we have, let's see, Gold Leaf I haven't used in a while. So we'll pull that one in. Again, we'll swatch when I have free hands. I don't think I'm pulling in any palettes right now. I exhausted the Modern Renaissance because it was in a project, and I don't want to use that. I don't want to use any of these because I used them all recently and I'm kind of just like not in the mood. These two, maybe like, yeah, no, I'm not in the mood. I might end up decluttering both of those though. Preview. That might just happen. So I'm kind of more interested in singles at the moment. So let's head over to the MAC. Okay, I'm gonna pull this huge pigment. It's huge. I mean, what in the world? But yeah, this is Larkabout, and this one is a really pretty iridescent purple shade. I used to use this back in the day as like a brow bone highlight, but I remember pulling this in during some Shop My Stash last year and being like in love with it. So we're gonna pull that one in. And oh my goodness, these are so old. Oh my god. I think Jest wears that really unexciting pink one. This is a pinky beige or beigey pink, or I don't know. Like, looks like that. It's like a pearly color. So I want to bring that in. So yeah, easy stuff, guys. Okay, I said I was gonna play with this more. I'll bring this one back in because I only used this like once last time and that was not the intention. So I'll bring this in, the Lorac pink one. Did bring this in 1 month recently, but I never touched it, so we need to do that. And here is a MAC pigment that was on the chopping block. This is a sample from like many years ago called Melon, and I do need to use this. But it is really pretty. It kind of looks the way it does in the lid. It does have really good pigmentation, but I need to use it and play with it and see what the heck is going on. Okay, so those are the swatches. The top one is Nude Beach by Bare Minerals. The second one is Gold Leaf. The third one down is Melon by MAC. And the last one is Larkabout, the MAC pigment that's super pretty iridescent. Yeah, so these are very shimmery, and I almost want to say like Y2K-ish looking. It reminds me of that like Urban Decay palette that came out that was like the Cyber palette, is it? I don't know. It kind of has that vibe to it. I could be completely wrong, but I think that'll be fun to be springy and iridescent. I didn't bother swatching this one because this literally looks like in the pan the same exact way in a swatch. So same with this one. So they're very nicely pigmented. So those are the only shadows I'm bringing in to use over the next few months, or as long as my heart desires. So I think that'll be good to round out my eyeshadows. Again, I am not pulling in any palettes because I don't feel like it, and I've used a lot of them already. Some are in my projects as well, so we're just gonna stick with these old dusty things. So here are all the products that I picked out. I know that seems like a lot of blush. Gain more clarity on what I want to declutter. And I have a Project Pan blush, so I don't want to like, you know, pressure myself to go crazy. But I do want to see how they play against each other and like what I like better and all that stuff. And yeah, so I'm not sure when I'm making another Shop My Stash. It might be next month. It might be 2 months from now. I feel like I like breaking it up a bit. So yeah, stay tuned for some Project Pan updates and also a declutter. I do plan on doing that very soon. I'm very excited about that because I know there are things I do want to let go of. So I'm going to close out here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Definitely like and subscribe as usual, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!